Development is everything. It's the time when you get to really tease out, explore, and play with an idea. Even though it's an expensive process in and of itself, it's a lot less expensive than when you're out there in production. It's a time when it's all about the script, getting that bedrock of every project rock solid. It's also a time when you're bringing in the circle of creatives that are going to realise this project to make sure that you're all sharing a vision of where you want this project to go.
Part of the reason I do what I do, and the main reason I got into filmmaking, was because I grew up not seeing myself reflected on the television and the big screen. Black Divas represents the opportunity for young LGBTQI people in our community to see themselves on screen. Just like we didn't see ourselves as Aboriginal people and Torres Strait Islander people on screen for many, many years.
I would say as well, just from a writing perspective, I think the script aspect of things is so important, and putting the time into getting that to a place where it feels strong, and just really put the work in to get that to the best place that you can before you get started, because that blueprint will serve you and will guide you throughout the production process. And I think ultimately, if a story's good, people are far more forgiving and less concerned about production value and scale. It's just about telling a great story with whatever tools that you have.
I do what I call the deep dive, and I drown in masses of information. And then there comes a moment where I start to write. Structure, acts, high points, low points. I look to see where all the stories I've uncovered fit into a narrative. And then I have to be free to improvise on the day, because life is always more interesting and more complex than what you could ever write on paper.
It was actually online videos that inspired me to get into filmmaking to begin with. There were visual effects tutorials, many of which were hosted on YouTube, and I was watching that stuff and suddenly realized you can make incredible sort of looking stuff without having to go to college and buy really expensive software. You just need to buy moderately successful software and you can learn this stuff, and I found that so inspiring because I suddenly had visions of myself being able to make really kind of high budget looking content that I would be really inspired to create, and then sharing it with people. And so there's this kind of sense that I feel like I've come from having watched online tutorials, that sort of thing, to making content inspired and very much crafted via the knowledge gained from that.
There's one thing that always happens on a film. It doesn't matter what you organise or what you plan for. The compromise truck turns up earlier than any other truck. So on a film, you are literally day by day dealing with compromise. And what I've learnt is the phrase, embrace the compromise. I embrace the problems. Because if you actually attack them head on, sometimes the solutions end up better than the actual original problem.
The thing that I keep learning is you just got to trust your instinct and never go against that. So if your instinct's saying this choice is wrong or this doesn't feel right, it's not going to be right. And have the courage to face that problem with your producers or whoever it may be, and try and find a solution to it. And eventually, even though it may seem an impossible fix, you may just find the solution that was way better than what you wanted in the first place.
The most important ingredient, in my experience, is sheer persistence. Honestly, I'd rather have 10% talent and 90% persistence than the other way around. But what's been the touchstone for me is the idea of just not giving up. And if the idea is strong enough, then that's what should fuel you, not what other people's reaction to it is.
On set, there's obviously a lot of pressure, and sometimes there's, room for doubt or trying to maybe wavering on what you've written, but it's really important to trust the writer that you were in that room and those sort of decisions, and you have to sort of stick to your guns while you're on set. But at the same time, we really feel it's important to also be open to let the best ideas rise to the top, and sometimes they come from collaboration on the day, sometimes they come from improv from actors, and sometimes they come from giving different departments like the art department or wardrobe the opportunity to add a joke or a choice that they think will bring more value to the project, and not sort of cutting yourself off from great ideas.
Being a YouTuber is really just being a creator or an artist. So the advice really is applicable to whoever, whether you're on stage, whether it's YouTube or you're on TV. You just have to keep going to eventually find where your voice is and what's working, what's not working. And that's the beauty about YouTube, is you can upload as many videos as you want, whenever you want. So you just got to start now and don't wait.